Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Check it, 1, 2, 3. It takes a little bit to warm up, just like our students. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. You've had coffee. That's probably one of the better ones I've heard this morning. My name is Greg Canada. I'm the Assistant Dean of Admissions at Indiana University Mallory School of the Law. And on behalf of the Mallory School of Law, I would like to welcome you all to the first of our 2 admitted student days. This is a real joy and honor to be here. I've mentioned this to a few of you as I was passing through the hallways and up and down the stairs here, that this is a real joy and a pleasure. It's a joy because after 6 months of intense labor reading your applications, I have the wonderful benefit and pleasure of meeting you all. And I have to say, so far, you look even better in person than you do on paper, which is saying quite a bit. But it's also a pleasure and an honor because I can honestly tell you that in front of me, we have some of the best prospective law students in the country. But I'll talk a little bit more of that in a moment. I know you all know you're good. Today, we're going to open our doors and try to do our best to impress you in the way that you impressed us in the application process. You're going to get a chance to meet our students, our faculty, our staff, our alumni, the folks who breathe life into what otherwise is just beautiful limestone and mortar. You'll also get to hear about the tremendous academic and professional opportunities, just about everything that gives this law school its distinctive character and its impressive standing. But given the structure of the day, one thing you may not get a sufficient picture of is just who is sitting next to you and just how impressive you all are. As is customary for me, I spent much of yesterday going through my copious notes on you. So let me indulge you a little bit by telling you who you are. Well, obviously you're smart. You decide to apply to Indiana law. That gives you, a big plus in my book. But more importantly, you were admitted. You were admitted to a law school that has one of the most impressive academic profiles in the country. So needless to say, you all are academically, or I should say numerically, very, very talented. But we all know that numbers do not tell the full story. You've all have attended some of the most selective colleges and universities in the nation and have been part of some of the most impressive honor programs. Some of you excelled in some of the most rigorous and challenging courses of study. You have or will be graduating with just about every Latin honors possible. And many of you have your graduate degrees. In fact, I think one of you has your PhD in philosophy. I will try to find the professor a little bit later on to bend his ear. You're also multiverse. You represent a wide array of ethnic, racial, social, and cultural identities. You range in over 25 years in age. You come from 50 different colleges, and you have majored in at least 30 different disciplines. You come from over 20 different states. Some of you have immigrated to this country at an early age, or some of you are children of immigrants. You speak many, many languages. I always feel like I'm presenting in front of the UN when I'm talking to you all. And your interest in the law is as varied as your backgrounds. It truly never fails to amaze me just how many streams feed this river we call Mallory Law School. You're driven. You're accomplished NCAA athletes. You've helped run political campaigns. You've run marathons. You have overcome many physical, social, and psychological impediments to achieve your goals. You defied the odds. You've accomplished much in your life despite growing up in poverty, in turbulent families, or in communities torn by crime and drug use. You have faithfully served our country as a member of the Navy, the Army, and the Marines. Hoorah! You've been members of the nation's most impressive college marching bands, and you've successfully completed college while holding down full-time jobs. Not an easy feat. You are accomplished. You've worked for Fortune 500 companies, and you've even owned your own companies. You are scientists on the front line in the battle against cancer. You are engineers. You're Fulbright scholars, and you've worked at some pretty impressive law firms as well as countless city and state attorneys' offices. You've worked with judges at almost every level of the judiciary. You've worked as members of state and federal legislatures, and you've worked on Capitol Hill. You've worked with state departments and embassies around the world, and you've been leaders of your college student government. The legacy continues. You've been a star at national UN competitions and captains of your mock trial teams. You're Eagle Scouts, and you've been honored as National Young Women of Distinction by the Girl Scouts. You have your black belt in Taekwondo and other martial arts. You also have incredible heart. You've experienced the depth of human need here and abroad, spending countless hours working for such noteworthy nonprofits as the Big Brothers Big Sisters, the Peace Corps, AmeriCorps, Teach for America, the National Down Syndrome Society, Meals on Wheels, as well as lesser-known organizations as the Project for the Advancement of Our Common Humanity, the Listening Project, the Children's Policy and Law Initiative, and the Threshold Choir, where you sang to patients in hospice care. You volunteered in prisons, juvenile centers, and countless homeless shelters. You've selflessly worked as high school teachers and high school coaches. You've served as church youth leaders, and you've worked as translators for Chinese asylum seekers. You are court-appointed special advocates. You have volunteered for numerous legal aid societies, and you've insisted to improve the health of the medically underserved. Lastly, you've shown your heart. These are some of the most difficult personal statements to read. You've shown your heart as you faithfully cared for others during some of the life's most painfully difficult moments. Lastly, you're fascinating. You're talented musicians. Where's my ukulele player? There you are. You're members of successful orchestras. You're gifted singers and songwriters, and you're writers and actors. You have traveled the world many times over, and you're leaders of performing art communities. In fact, some of you are gifts on the performance stage, and at least one of you is a stand-up comedian. You are sophisticated video game designers, and you're quite adept at sailing, and you're superb anglers. You've enjoyed shuffle dancing, and you are, and wait for this, rabbit coaches. Not very often I come across that. So why am I all sharing this with you? Well, obviously by telling you how great you are, you make me look good. So thank you all very much. No, but more importantly, you now understand why it really is an honor to be in front of you today. I hope that despite not being given a significant amount to schmooze with one another today, each of you at least will leave here with appreciating the amazing people who are sitting next to you and who are considering joining this esteemed law school next fall. I firmly believe your classmates, those who will be joining you as you pursue your educational professional aspirations, should be one of the most important factors you should consider when you're thinking about where you should enroll next fall. These folks, or at least should, I should say, these folks should, depending on the environment, challenge you to be the best you can be. And their success in law school, as well as after law school, will ultimately be yours as well. So if history is any good predictor of the future, then many of you who are sitting here with us today will be with us next fall. And if this is the case, then I'm very confident that this law school's venerable 175-year legacy of producing leaders of the bar, the private sector, and the government is in very good hands. But as you will see, this law school is good at attracting more than just some of the nation's best law students. We also recruit some of the best legal scholars, some of the best teachers and practitioners you'll find in the nation. We also are known for attracting outstanding administrators like the person I'm about to introduce. Let me find his notes. I should have this memorized, Austin. Yeah, okay. All right, let me introduce this gentleman. He's well-known and widely published scholar in transnational law and the use of domestic law institutions to address global changes. He's the author of numerous scholarly articles and the co-author of 2 books, Effective Lawyering, a checklist approach to legal writing, widely used by lawyers and law firms, and Hard-Nosed Advice from a Cranky Law Professor, a popular guide for new law students. Is your picture on the cover of that? No. Just had to ask, sorry. He's the furthest thing from a curmudgeon. And I'm not saying that because he's my boss, but also because tomorrow's his birthday. So, in addition to his scholarly work, he continues to teach, and this is quite impressive, even in his role as a dean. He teaches a variety of courses, including civil procedure, constitutional law, federal courts, international environmental law, and public international law. Like me, he left California to join Indiana law community, where he was appointed the dean and James H. Rudy, professor of law in 2014. A graduate of University of Washington and Columbia Law School, please welcome my dean and hopefully yours, Mr. Austin Parrish.
Greg does these kind introductions each year, and I just note coincidentally that we're right going into salary setting when I decide to raise it. Well, welcome. My job is to just do a quick, brief introduction from the faculty, and to start off with saying congratulations. If you're here, you've done something right, not only in your past, as Greg has suggested, but I also think you've made a good decision to try to figure out whether this is the right fit for you. I guess my sense is you probably have a number of options, and I think spending a day here, getting to know who we are, being able to meet our faculty, our alumni, our staff is a great way to see if this is a place where you want to spend 3 years. I thought instead of sort of talking about the school sort of abstractly, I'd perhaps tell you why I came here. I grew up in the Pacific Northwest. As Greg said, I went to law school in New York. I was then in Los Angeles for about 18 years before I joined IU 6 years ago. And I see somebody just last week was making a joke, not realizing where I came from. It's like, why would somebody from LA come to the Midwest? It was a very cold winter. There was a polar vortex that year where it was about minus 40. People were not even remembering. So I thought I'd just talk to you a little bit about the only reason what drew me here. First, it's incredible to be part of one of America's really top research universities. And there's something special about being a law school that's part of this massive interdisciplinary university with lots of different opportunities. How many people here are from IU or have been? So a number of you are from IU Bloomington. It really is a fabulous place, and being in the heart of that campus is special. There's also something special about being at a public law school. As Greg mentioned, we're now 178 years old. We were the 9th oldest law school in the United States. We're the first public law school in the Midwest, the 5th public law school in the nation. And I think that history actually means something. In part, it means that we attract wonderful students from all over the world. Normally, in an entering class, we'll have students in the JD program from about 30 states and usually 4 or 5 countries. In our graduate programs, we normally represent about 25 to 30 different countries coming here. And that's not a new thing. That's not a new history for the law school. That goes back long into our early history. In fact, in the 1900s, 1905, the first Japanese American to practice law anywhere in the United States graduated here from law school. In the early 30s, us, Harvard, and Michigan were the first few schools in the country that had the first Chinese lawyers studying in the United States. Very first African American judge to be elected, woman judge to be elected anywhere in the United States was our graduate. First African American female judge to be on the Supreme Court of any state, Juanita Kitts-Stout in the state of Pennsylvania, was our graduate. The first female justice on the Wisconsin Supreme Court, later the first female chief justice in the Wisconsin Supreme Court, Shirley Abramson, was our graduate. First female and only female attorney general of the state of Connecticut, who just yesterday they announced they're doing an award named after her in her honor, Clarence Riddle, was our graduate, still a member of our board, fabulous graduate. First African American judge of the state of West Virginia, our graduate. First female judge in Indiana, our graduate. First female appellate justice in Indiana, our graduate. First female chief justice in the state of Indiana, our graduate. First Hispanic federal judge in Indiana, our graduate. These are fabulous stories, and as you go back, right, part of the dean is to be able to see kind of the school through the eyes of alumni. And that sort of great trajectory that began long ago and continues today is something that makes me proud to be a dean. And in part, I don't know whether the alum come back because of the basketball or the law school, but they all seem to bleed cream and crimson. And each year, we're fortunate to have about 1,000 alum come back to the law school to provide time, either providing mentorship or guidance for our students. And I think that makes it fairly special. Well, look, the problem with the dean is that I can actually go on for several hours talking about the law school. That's my job. I'm going to turn it over, so I'm not going to do that now. But I'll be joining you for lunch, and I hope you will come up and say hi. I always say this to everybody. Very few take me up on this. My offer is always open. And so if after this admitted student day you have some questions that you'd like to have with the dean, or you want to have an individual conversation, you should just reach out. I meet with people all the time. So feel free to send me an email if you'd like to talk to me about more about the law school, or about what our aspirations are. We've been doing lots of great things in the last few years. You may read about our centers and some of our individual programs. Our Rural Justice Initiative that we launched last year with the Indiana Supreme Court. Our Family Office Program, the first law school in the nation to have that sort of program. Our Innovative Center for Constitutional Democracy, only one of its kind in the country. The Center on the Global Legal Profession, one of only 3 or 4 doing that sort of work throughout the nation. Our Bradley Criminal Law Fellows Program. We just last week had the Human Rights Commissioner for Poland coming in to speak with that program. At the same time, we had a big scholar from Trinity College Dublin come in. Really some amazing things happening here at the school. And I'd be happy to talk to you about that and what our trajectory is. So feel free to reach out if you'd like. Otherwise, I hope you have a wonderful day. I'm sure it's set up at some point, and so I'm probably jumping the gun a little bit. But this takes a tremendous amount of work from the admissions office. You're going to meet a ton of students who really should be studying, but they're actually spending time here. So I wonder if we could thank Janet Hine and the entire admissions staff, great candidates. Welcome to Mauer Law. Have a brilliant day, and I hope to see you here in August. Thank you so much.
Just in case you didn't meet the people from the admissions office, I'll introduce them in a moment. I sometimes get asked the question, too, how did you move to Indiana from San Francisco? And, there are a lot of reasons, some of them that were very clear from the get-go, and others became more apparent once I got to the law school. But time and time again, I say that one of the best parts of my job is working with the students here. Not only are they gifted from the neck up, but they got incredible hearts, and we see this in the way that they support incoming students, what they give back to the community at the law school and beyond. So it really is a joy, and I can't emphasize enough the importance of our student body. So on that score, I would now like to introduce you to the president, or actually the head of our Indiana Law Student Bar Association, Mr. Aaron Vance. Let me tell you quickly about Mr. Vance, and I actually remembered when he was going through this process not that long ago. So it kind of puts things really in perspective of just how quickly time flies. Aaron graduated from the University of Louisville in 2017 with a degree in political science. He served as a student body president, a very busy student body president, if I recall, and was a student member of the Board of Trustees and was a McConnell Scholar. In Indiana law, Aaron has been actively involved in the law school community as a member of multiple student organizations, including the Indiana Law Journal, the Sherman-Minton Moot Court Competition, and the Labor and Employment Law Society. During his post-law summer, he was a legal intern for the Lumina Foundation, researching issues related to private foundations and their mission of advancing post-secondary education credentials. His second summer was spent as a summer associate with Stoll, Keenan, Ogden, and Louisville. And after graduation, Aaron plans to return to Louisville, where he will join Dinsmore and Scholl as an associate in the firm's Labor and Employment Group. Please welcome Mr. Aaron Vance.
That's perfect. There was more in there than I told you about me, so I don't know how you figured that out. I did not move here from California, so I can't talk about how different the weather is and how different the people are. Being from Louisville, y'all are about the same. Hoosiers, Kentuckians, we fight, but we're not so different. So good morning, and I'll say welcome to the Mauer School of Law. As well, as Dean Canada said, I'm Aaron Vance, and I'm a third-year student. It's been said before, and I'll say it again, that it really is an honor to be with you all this morning and to welcome you to Mauer and to Bloomington, and to just say congratulations as well on behalf of the entire student body and the Student Bar Association. So I can't stress this enough, that this day is going to fly by, and you're only going to really get a small sampling of what Mauer is and what the community is like. But I think while it might be condensed, it really will be representative of what this place is like and what will make it an amazing place for your law school career. I know that I came to my admitted students day, and that changed my entire trajectory for deciding on where I was going to go to law school. It really was that kind of visceral gut reaction when I came here and I met Dean Canada and I met Dean Parrish and I met the faculty members. It'd be a little later when I met Professor Dowschmidt, who would make me a labor and employment attorney, but I really got into this place, and it really became what I thought my home was going to be. So I will say that, you all know that law school is tough, and there's no doubt about that. And I really hope there isn't, because if I'm the one who's telling you that, we've got a bit of a problem, because these next 3 years are going to be a little rough. But I will say that this community and this student body and this faculty really will make the difference. You're going to be hard-pressed to find someone here who won't tell you the same thing, that it's tough, that, torts cases are hard and property is hard, and, constitutional law goes a million different ways. But all of those things are made so enjoyable, and the challenges are so honed and refined and more rewarding and more enjoyable because you're at the Mauer School of Law. So, you're going to see that this place is kind of small, it's kind of cozy. The moot courtroom's tight packed, and if you do choose to come to Maurer, I can almost promise you that within the first couple months, you're going to know all of your classmates' names. You're going to be huddled around their lockers. You're going to be traipsing down 4th Street to get something better to eat after you've had too much pizza. You know, it is just such an amazing support that will become part of your class, that'll be augmented by the upperclassmen, the faculty, and even the staff. And so, you know, when you choose to come to Maurer too, you're going to become part of this bigger Bloomington community. This really is an amazing town, and if you haven't had the chance to check it out, I really do hope you'll get the chance to kind of explore it this weekend. Maurer is so precariously situated within this great town that it is such an amazing complement, professionally, socially, and in a variety of other ways, that your law school experience becomes enhanced and augmented in ways that I don't know other places can even match. So, you know, I was only given a couple minutes, and I see Janet back there. She's about to, like, broom me off like Showtime at the Apollo. And I want to cram as much in the hopes of providing you, you know, for just a little bit. You're going to see so much today. And I can just say that, in all fairness, I haven't done it one bit of justice. So, you know, if you've got more questions throughout the day, feel free to stop me. I'll be kind of around and about. And I think just in closing that I'll say again that this really is a special kind of place. And it is palpable enough that even in this short little brief day that you'll pick up on a lot of the things that I'm just trying to underscore. So again, congratulations, welcome to Maurer, and I hope you're able to enjoy your day. So thanks.
So yeah, the gauntlet's been thrown, so I must make this very quickly. Actually, we could skip lunch today. We just keep talking about that. What I would like to do is switch gears a little bit and talk a little bit about the mechanics of the day. So in doing so, I ask you kindly to take out the schedule that we have in your folder. And I'm going to quickly go through that to kind of let you know what the outline of the day is and also to give you a few highlights. The first thing is, after this brief welcome, we're all going to take a very brief break. The restrooms, by the way, are on that corner of the law school. So if you walk out here, take a right, you'll find them down there. So feel free to use this time after this welcome to go to the restroom, pick up some more coffee, whatever else we have out there. You will then come back into this office, into this moot court room, where you'll have an opportunity to listen to our faculty talk about the academic life of the law school. One great thing about this little session is you can ask questions and the faculty actually have to answer your question. That's something you will not experience for your whole first year in law school. So make use of that time and grill them. Afterwards, there'll be another break where you can go back out. There should be some dessert, refreshments and the bathroom break, and then you'll come back into this room where you'll actually talk and hear from alumni who will talk about their life here at the law school and what they see as the advantages of having a law degree from Maurer. Afterwards, we will then take a stroll over to the beautiful tutor room where we'll be joined by faculty and students, and we'll have lunch. This will be an opportunity for you all to talk to one another, because much of the day will be us talking to you. So really make the most of that time talking to the students who are next to you. You'll find that you'll have a lot in common. Afterwards, you'll come back here, and there'll be an optional tour of the law school at that time. We will pair students up with fellows, and those fellows and ambassadors all have green dots on their name tag. So if you're not sure if the student is currently enrolled or not, you can tell by the name tag they have a green dot. We'll have a number of ambassadors and fellows give tours of the law school at that time. About 10 after 1, we will then have another session in here for all our admitted students, and this is an opportunity for you to hear from currently enrolled students. And no one from the admissions office will be there, so it really is have at you one and find out what really it's like to be a student here at the law school. For those of you who are either spouses, partners, or parents, there'll be another session held by our esteemed Dean of Students, Aviva Ornstein, who I just saw walk out. She will talk a little bit about what you can do to support your loved one in law school, and also what to expect of them as they go through this transmogrification. You'll never be the same. Then afterwards, we're going to have a couple of concurrent sessions. I know some of you are interested in experiential learning opportunities, so we have here a session on lawyering for credit where you'll hear about clinics, externships, and things along those lines. And then we'll also have a session on intellectual property. These will all, by the way, be held in this corridor at the law school. There will also be a session at that time for joint degrees. I know a lot of you have an interest in getting a JD, MBA, PhD, MD all within 5 years, so that might be very attractive for you aspiring intellectuals. We also have a session held by our Director of Financial Aid in room 125, Financing and Legal Education. Again, we will help you find the locations of these rooms if you have any questions after lunch. At 2:45, we'll then break out, and there'll be another round of these concurrent sessions. So the idea is look for 2 sessions that might be appealing to you and attend those 2 sessions. If you find only one and you want to hang out and mingle with the admissions office or law fellows, we will be outside to answer any questions. And no, I won't be discussing scholarships today. Sorry. Then afterwards, you will then come back here to a wonderful closing of the law school. As you may know, we have someone taking photographs. He actually has been an esteemed member of our community here, and he's blessed us with his presence today taking photos. But Mr. James Boyd, who works over at School for Public and Environmental Affairs, is over here taking pictures of the law school. You will see kind of a snapshot of the day thanks to his efforts. And then you also have an opportunity to talk a little bit more, about, find out who the fellows are, ambassadors, and hear from them. Then lastly, we'll have a little shindig outside here. I think we'll have musicians from the Jacob School of Music playing some music accompanied by beer and wine. So what a wonderful way to end the day. Janet, have I covered everything? I want to point out Janet Hine. I have to single her out because I have to say that she's the one who put on this show. I get to come up here and look pretty, but Janet, and I'd say really the rest of the admissions office, but really under Janet Hine, the director of admissions, she's really led the day, making it really the special day it's going to be. If it's not, just remember it's her fault, not mine. But no, in all honesty, it really is an honor to work with Janet, and I want to thank her very much for what she's done for the day. I don't see the rest of the community admissions office, but we also have our newest member of the admissions office, Mrs. Kim Hughes, who has been just a godsend to the office. She's the one who answers all your phone calls, and she takes care of all your travel and reimbursements, but she's been a wonderful, wonderful addition to this office, so I hope you have a chance to meet with her as well. So I think, Janet, are we good with notes and so forth? You'll have an opportunity to, at this time, break and go out and get some more refreshments, some coffee, and come back here. I think we'll be back here about 5 to 7 minutes. Is that correct? 5 minutes. Okay, 5 minutes. All right. Thank you very much, everyone.